Of all written mediums, fanfiction has to be the one that people most love to hate. The complete lack of quality control and just how absolutely bizarre some of the ideas that come from fanfiction are reason enough. It's argued that there are hidden gems, but is it really worth the effort? For starters, I think the appeal of fanfiction is often one of the aspects that keeps others away. Like a children's drawing is to art, a fanfiction is to literature. There's a lack of refinement in form and structure that make it harder to look at, but the result is something that's more pure. Ideas put to word and only somewhat warped by a lens of fiction and storytelling, far from polished. And though they are often ideas based firmly in something else, the intertextual potentials of fanfiction far outstrip other media. These unfiltered thoughts and ideas, concepts being bashed together and scrawled out in heaps of messy prose often don't make sense, nor are the results pretty. But no one cares. Form and structure are easily abandoned in this spew of literature tossed into the internet. With no editors, a minimum of quality control, and you've got something that you just can't find anywhere else. See, while almost anyone could write in this digital age, it's far easier to get it out there, whether it's good or not. And that's the appeal. A sea of such an obscene amount of content that pretty much every bottle in this vast ocean of bottles has a chance of being picked up and appealing so specifically to someone. Within fics of certain fandoms, you have a whole culture of types and subtypes. Shipping, alternate universe, crossover, angst, alternate cast fics. You have niches within niches of niches, and the idea of something like that still being enjoyed or meaningful to someone is amazing. But that's also a weakness in fanfiction. As a writer, they guarantee that someone will read your work is comforting even if you never happen to hear what they think. But as a reader, trying to find something you might enjoy is like going through a message in a bottle in an ocean of bottles, and most of them are troll posts. Finding anything of quality requires a good eye and a willingness to dig, but the fanfiction community still hasn't figured out how to manage that sea of content. AO3's tag system is a merciful aid, and they're accepting volunteers specifically to work at managing the tags of certain fandoms. Fanfiction.net, however, started in 1998, and boy does it fucking show. The lack of quality control and ease of access result in something that appeals to no one but everyone. I firmly believe that within any genre or medium, as long as someone approaches it with a broad enough reach and mindset, they can find something within it that appeals to them. Fanfiction should be no exception. Even beyond the obvious problems, the lack of quality control extends to those who read and discuss it, with rare exceptions such as DePaul University's course on fandom and cult media and subculture studies. On Fanfiction.net, in particular, it's impossible to find good stories easily. To further classify what fanfiction is, let's take the sliding scale. On one side, you have stories meant to be told, and the other, you have stories meant to be heard. Of course, in order for a work to be heard and told, it can't occupy either extreme. A story only told would exist inside your head, never shared with the outside. To share it would be sliding it towards being heard. A story only heard wouldn't have been formed as a story. It'd be like a series of events with no real connection, merely observed and forgotten unless someone were to connect events together and tell a story out of them. Thank God there's a fucking text version. To apply this to media, stories meant to be heard are at their worst soulless marketing grabs, or at best stories that have to have market value to be told in the first place, like a film of any notable production quality. On the opposite side, you have outsider art, works done by the untrained artist. A well-known example would be the story of the Vivian Girls and what is known as the realms of the unreal of the Glandico and Julian Warstorm caused by a child slave rebellion. No, that is not the title of a light novel getting an adaptation by A1 Pictures later this year. It's a 1,545-page novel written by Henry Darger and discovered after his death. He put his wild imagination to the page and made something that's achieved a level of appeal to art enthusiasts. It's considered a well-known piece of outsider art, but fanfiction is outsider art too, and that's easy to forget. I don't think fanfiction should be written to appeal to a lot of people. Not that it can't do so, but that shouldn't be the primary purpose of its existence. And so I plea, readers of fanfiction, keep going, you're doing fine and someone has to do it, cause it ain't gonna be me. Writers of fanfiction, have some self-awareness about what you're doing. If you get a negative comment before you get mad or disheartened, think about it for a second. Why do you write? If it's for fun or because you have an idea you want to get out there, then forget what they're saying. You really shouldn't be worrying about who your fic appeals to in the first place as long as it appeals to you. Now if you're trying to improve, that's a different story. Fanfiction can be a good medium to flex some muscles, but it's one that could be damaging if you aren't careful. On one hand, what better way to practice world building than through an alternate universe fic? On the reverse, you can practice character building and development through original characters within an already established setting. However, especially in less experienced artists, it's easy to become more focused on positive comments over negative ones, regardless of how constructively critical they are. Yeah, hearing a critical remark about something you thought you did well hurts, but whether you ultimately agree or not, accepting it and moving on are necessary if you want to become a writer. Every story is a construction. Every trope, every character, every event, and even every word is like a Lego piece. No work of fiction is made in a vacuum. Every creator has been influenced by everything in their life up to that point when they put a word on the page. In no medium is that more true than fanfiction, which can so liberally use pieces of other works of fiction to make something so completely new that it couldn't have been done without those pieces. Art doesn't have to be good or even memorable, it's always going to be. And as a writer, I've learned that inspiration is like lightning. If you aren't ready for it when it comes, you're gonna miss it, and while lightning will come again, the bolt you missed might always be gone. Forcing yourself to write just doesn't work. When you have inspiration, use it. Listen to your muse, for she is wiser than you. If you hit a writer's block, it means you've run out of things to say, so keep speaking on a different topic of conversation. And if you happen to be talking about a fanfic, then go for it. I'm not the most avid reader of fanfiction, but I still wouldn't want to live in a world without it.